4 years ago, I was doing some genealogy research on my family, on my father's side. He passed away in 1973, and my mother passed away in 1989. I was surprised that none of my older siblings knew anything about my father's history. Coinciding with my research, I went to Selma, Alabama, which I've done since 2005 to participate in the annual Bridge Crossing Jubilee, which celebrates the Voting Rights Act. I met a lady there.
Oh, those names are familiar. You have ancestors in this area?
I was just there for the bridge crossing. I didn't know of any ancestors, so I went along with it, but it stayed with me. So I looked it up after locating my grandmother information. I found my grandfather's name, Thomas Braxton. Before this search, I thought all of my father's family came from Mobile, Alabama, where I kept hitting a dead end, but now I got a new lead to follow. I was able to find my grandfather's name, my great-grandfather's name, Elijah. Then I found his father's name, Samuel, who was born in Virginia, but somehow ended up in Alabama. He was 90 years old in 1870, living in Selma. All of the family members lived in the area of Selma and Oroville, Alabama. After finding out all this, I wanted to become Professor Skip Gates and find my roots. A lot of my granduncles had signed up for the World War I draft and identified the address in the area of Oroville and Hazen, Alabama. Time for another trip. My first stop was to visit an old church the lady had told me about during my first visit. It was supposed to be in or near the town of Oroville, Alabama, but there was a big accident on the highway.
It's gonna be a while, friend.
I see. Hey, could you tell me if you know of an old church here in this Oroville area?
Oh yeah, it used to be right over there that way, but they moved it back to the original location in Cahaba. That's the first state capital of Alabama, you know.
Do you know if the old cemetery is still there? I'm looking for my family, the Braxtons.
Braxton, This is a small area. I come across most folks, but I don't know any Braxton.
I then went to Cahaba and visited the church I wanted to see.
I usually have to escort visitors so the site doesn't get vandalized, but I trust you. Here's the key. Good luck. I hope you find some clues.
Thanks. Hey, do you know of a town called Hazen?
Yeah, you passed through it on the way here.
I didn't see any town.
It ain't much of a town to see.
I got lost 4 times trying to find it. The 5th time through, I pulled over to the side of the road and asked a lady, how do I get to Hazen?
You're in it. Who are you looking for?
I told her about my search and she asked my name.
Braxton. I have a half-sister that married a Braxton.
We must have talked for 45 minutes. I needed to get back to Selma to get me something to eat. With all the excitement, I had forgot to eat. I then remembered that I had such a wonderful conversation with her, but I forgot to ask her name.
I'm Fannie Mae Parker.
Parker? I think I have some Parkers on my father's families too.
Did you say Braxton?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there is a Braxton right up the road.
She told me how many trees to get to his trailer. I pulled up to Mr. Braxton's trailer. Dogs was barking somewhere, so I decided to stay in the truck and blow my horn. He finally came out with a scowl on his face. I rolled down my window and gave him my normal southern greeting. How you doing, Mr. Braxton? He said, that depends. Who are you? He then tells me that his name is Braxter, not Braxton. He said, I have never been a Braxton. The census people tried to say we were Braxtons, but I got them straight. I told him about my search for my family roots and he invited me in. Mr. Braxter thought that my great-great-grandfather Samuel could have been his grandfather, twin brother, who went missing after they ran away from slavery in Virginia and ended up in Alabama. The family lost track of him and never knew what happened to him. We talked for 2 hours. I learned a lot about him and his family. He called someone on the phone, then he handed me the phone. And I said, "Who is it?" He said, "Just talk to him." I was talking to a professor of African American Studies from Alabama State University. The professor gave me information and a phone number of an author of genealogy of Alabama families. After all this, I asked him what was his father's and grandfather's name. He told me his father's name, but he couldn't remember his grandfather's name. The next morning at the hotel, I looked up his father's information. I discovered his grandfather's name, his siblings, and marriage and death dates, burial locations of some of them. The most exciting thing I found was their last name was Braxton, just like mine. The census records for 1910, 1920, and 1930 listed his family as Braxton. In 1940, it changed to Braxter. Mr. Braxter was right. He'd never been a Braxton because he was born in 1938. So what happened? Misspelling? Misinterpretation? Who knows? But I do know they were Braxtons. Once I found out all this information, I couldn't leave Alabama without telling him. I made another journey to his trailer that day. I pulled up in my truck and rolled the window down. He came out moving kind of quickly and smiling and spoke first. "Hey, cousin." I said, "Hey, how you doing?" He says, "Fine. You came back." I said, "Yes, I got some good news and some bad news for you." We sat at the kitchen table. I asked him which one did he want to hear first. He said it didn't matter. I said, "First of all, you are not a Braxter." He said, "How so?" And I told him. He then asked, "How did you do that?" After me trying to explain how the ancestry software worked, he asked, "Did you find my grandfather's name?" I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "What is it?" I said, "Bessic." He became ecstatic and shouted, "That's it! That's it! I don't know how I forgot that. We used to call him Bessie. How much do I owe you?" I said, "You don't owe me anything. You have given me another opportunity to further investigate my family roots." We exchanged contact information and have kept in contact till this day.